Hey everyone, Seth with Glowe here. In today's video, we're going to be comparing 3 different cells with 3 different chemistries and reviewing the discharge curves as well as checking out how they behave at various voltages you may be charging them to. First we have LTO. We are using a 10 amp hour LTO cell. Next we have a 15 amp hour LFP cell. And then we have a 10 amp hour sodium cell. So to keep things even, we're just going to be discharging them at 1C and 2C. But after I do the test, I will be graphing them all out so we can kind of see over time where your voltage will be, and that will be the base level of your voltage before any real voltage drop as far as the load from your amplifiers comes from the cell. So keep that in mind when deciding which chemistry. And after this video, hopefully you will have a better idea, at least, based on the capacity and state of charge, what chemistry is right for you.
First up, we have lithium iron phosphate. Discharging the cell at 1C, something important to note is that for over 90% of this battery's discharge cycle, it was within 1 volt. So the power remains very consistent from start to finish. It is not linear with the drop at all, so it remains very steady throughout and then sharply drops off at the end. Charging in the low 14s is absolutely okay, and you're definitely getting your battery 100% charged at that voltage, so that's absolutely okay. And next we will move along to sodium. So here we have the discharge curve of sodium charged at about 14.7 volts. You'll see it steadily descends throughout the capacity, and it looks like by about 65% of the battery's remaining capacity, so 3.5 amp hours used, we were already under 12 volts. So for about 35% of this battery's life cycle, it's above 12 volts, and anything less than that you really want to avoid using for any kind of automotive purpose. Preferably higher than 12 volts, but that should be considered the bare minimum standard. So sodium at 14.7 does give you, some usable energy, about 35%. So if you have 100 amp hours of sodium, you can, if you're down 35 amp hours on that 100 amp hours, you're going to be under 12 volts. So really you have about 35 amp hours usable from that bank. So as long as you account for that and aren't expecting more than that, then you can use it. It's just you are not getting the actual capacity that is usable for this application. When we charge sodium to 15.6 volts, the biggest change is that we do get the rated capacity. This was a 10 amp hour cell and we got 10.4 amp hours from it, but we still only got about 45% of the rated capacity over 12 volts. So about 4.5 amp hours of this 10.4 amp hours was actually usable, and 55% of it was below the point that should be considered acceptable for automotive purposes. Then comparing them side by side, we can see that the discharge curve is, very similar between the two. Largely we're just getting more capacity, so a bit more energy at a higher voltage, and then it drops off just the same. Okay, next we have LTO at 1C. Something important to know, and kind of as we expected, at 14.6 volts, we only got about 2.7 amp hours before the cells were below their threshold. So something important to know, though, is that almost all of that was above 13 volts until it dies right at the very end. So while you're only getting about 27% of the rated capacity, it is all over 13 volts. So just keep that in mind if you're running a 50 amp hour LTO bank charging in the mid 14s, that you're probably only getting around 13 to 14 amp hours of usable energy from your bank. Here we have the 1C discharge of LTO at 15.6 volts. Still a little bit low on the voltage for LTO to be optimal, but we did get 94% of the rated capacity. And as expected, the LTO cells just performed spectacularly throughout the discharge curve. Very little voltage drop until the sudden drop at the end. And constant voltage over 13 volts, and a lot of it even over 14 volts. So here's a side-by-side of all three chemistries if you're charging in the low to mid 14s. If you're okay with the severely limited capacity, LTO will hold a higher voltage for the short duration that it lasts, as far as your capacity is concerned. It does appear to perform quite a bit better than sodium, which drops off. And we have the same issue that we discussed earlier, where a lot of the capacity is below 12 volts. Whereas if you want something that's going to consistently perform and you're going to get all of your rated capacity and just steady power throughout the discharge curve, looks like at the, anywhere from the low to mid 14s, even high 13s, LFP is going to substantially outperform the other two. And now here's the side-by-side for if you're charging in the mid-15s. Here we have 15.6 volts, comparing what your experience is going to be like using sodium versus LTO. At least as far as the state of charge and voltage goes, clearly LTO has a massive advantage over sodium in just about every way here. You're going to hold, again, all of your voltage is going to be at a much higher level, and almost all of it's over 13 volts, whereas, very little of the sodium is actually going to be above 12 volts. And you have that very linear drop off as far as your capacity is concerned, whereas the LFP is much better at staying steady throughout the discharge curve. So, at least according to this test, LTO is the clear winner at a higher voltage. So in conclusion, it looks like if you're in the low to mid 14s, LFP is likely going to be the best solution. If you are charging anywhere higher than the 15s, maybe even 14.8 or higher to the mid 15s, then LTO is just going to be, the ultimate choice. It's going to perform very, very well. It leaves sodium in kind of an awkward place with its drop off. It's really kind of disappointing with the linear voltage drop. It's kind of in the middle of both of them, except for it's not better at the lower than LFP, and it's not better at the higher than LTO. So I guess sodium is a good choice if it's what your budget will allow. But that's the information we found. So here's the 2C discharge curves. They're not too much different than the 1C discharge curves. I'm going to leave them here side by side as just a final note. I did do all the tests at 2C as well as 1C and didn't find any real remarkable differences worth dedicating much more time to reviewing. So I will go ahead and post all of the images now as far as the discharge curves at 2C as well. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below.